Yeah, so y'all boys got that win.
You know my Panthers got that thing done today, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
God.
So yeah, man. If you're watching or whenever you watch this is the Creative Athletes Podcast, episode 1. I got my main man Anthony Morrow in the building. One of the best shooters that I played with, and historically one of the best shooters the NBA scene. Man, what's good, bro?
What's going on, brother? You already know what time it is, bro.
Yeah, man.
Even the podcast, bro. You my brother. You know what time it is, man.
Absolutely, man. So I see you got in your Panthers jersey. Y'all got that win today.
We got that dub today, brother.
That's what's
We
up,
had we
man.
beat the Saints, so I gotta call my daughter because she's a Saints fan, and I
All
gotta
right.
gotta talk some trash with my daughter today. But it's all good. It's
Well,
all
yeah, man. We're just kind of jumping into it, bro. I mean, obviously, with your background, you being from Charlotte, obviously, basketball is your sport that you chose to come out, man. What does it take, though, man? Like, obviously, I'm a basketball trainer. I've coached, done this for like the last 7 years, and obviously been a player. But talking to an athlete, what does it take to get the competitive edge that you had? Were you born with it, or did it develop over time?
Now I feel like it was more of a chip on the shoulder. You know what I'm saying? And it kind of started, around maybe 11 or 12 years old. And you start feeling like you better than guys just getting the attention and getting the rankings and all that stuff. And it wasn't like it is now where you get ranked when you 6 years old. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right, right. Yeah.
Now it's like, I kind of had to, I just felt like I wanted to be better than anybody in the neighborhood.
Right.
Then out of the neighborhood, rec league, and then AAU, and then, moving forward, you know, I was like, I just wanted to figure out how to work on my game because you don't learn that, you know what I'm saying, unless you got,
Right.
I always talk about my sons and how you getting workouts that I did where
Right.
I
Right.
play basketball, you know what I'm saying? You know
Right.
how that go, bro,
For
so
sure. For sure.
it was one of those things where I kind of, I kind of had to like figure that out. And then as you get older, you see more players, you see more, social media turns up so you can see guys like you put kids through workouts and learn drills and footwork and get the knowledge from you and experience from you. You know what I'm saying? You start figuring that out. But yeah, I think the competitive edge was just wanting to be better than people in
Right.
general. So you go harder. Before you learn how to work out, you just when everybody leave the court, you stay and play one on one in your imagination against your favorite player, and you
Right.
out
Right.
3 more hours. You know what I'm saying? You know how that is, bro.
For
So
sure.
that's where that came from, man. Honestly, bro.
And do you think that, obviously I see you're starting up with training now too. We'll talk about that here in a little bit, but as far as your player development, how important is the mix of having player development, but also just getting out there and kind of getting in the mix and playing?
Nah, I mean, honestly, man, player development changed my life, bro. I always bring up my high school assistant coach, Donnie Fullwood. Shout out to Coach Faulkner, Jerry Faulkner, legendary coach here in North Carolina and South Carolina. But Donnie Fullwood was the assistant coach for years at Charlotte. He still is assistant coach.
Right.
It was a guy that picked me up from the west side of Charlotte and took me all the way to my school, two, three times a week
Right.
to work on my game in the summertime. And it was lifting weights for an hour, and then we go on the court for an hour and a half. Taught me how to come off screens, footwork, ball handling drills, learn how to, just stuff that I was doing at the park and at the YMCA, but I had to learn how to do it more efficiently.
Right.
And getting up shots and being repetitive and like learning how to fall in love with the grind of working out versus
Right.
going and rolling the ball out, everybody go hoop. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's a fine balance, I think. Yeah. So I got to go take a peek at Georgia State's practice the other day, and from
Right.
talking to the head coach, he was just saying that with the newer generation, it's just that it seems like that a lot of kids are like really wrapped up into the training, and
Yeah.
they don't play as much. So I think for us, it was kind of natural to just always wanted to be wrapped up into the game, but then also at the same time too, spending time alone to develop whatever flaws or weaknesses that you saw from playing. So that's what we kind of agreed on. That I
Yep.
think that you got to do the player development because you want to fine tune. You need to, as CY would say, sharpen your blade, but then mixing up with playing, but then spending time away from those groups or away from those sessions where you just kind of figure out your identity. I made a post on IG the other day talking about what is your identity on the court. And I think that's where you find it at in those creative moments when you're pretending like you're playing against somebody. You have to kind of lock in on, I don't know, figuring out who you want to be as a player. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. You got to know that for real. Like you can do drills with chairs and cones all day, but if you're
right,
not playing outside of that to apply what you learn from the coaches and the trainers and everything that you learn, and you got to be able to apply that when
right,
you actually play against somebody. And
yeah,
that's the thing that I think is kind of fading a little bit out because a lot of these guys, you either see people playing pickup or you
right,
see them doing drills against nobody, and
uh,
it's like 60,000 views or something, 100,000 views.
right,
Like, a lot of these kids, man, I see them. They going to these top-notch schools and universities, and it's like, I watched them get a whole bunch of likes, but then when he got to play against that fifth-year senior that's just there just to try to lock you up every day, to
right,
see
right,
how good you really are.
right,
And then it's like, okay, now we see if you can really play, if you just a guy that can make a lot of highlights or dunk,
right,
shoot threes from really deep like Steph, but against nobody. You know what I'm saying?
right. Of
I
course.
always give credit to those guys like that. I really respect a few of the homies, man. Damian Lillard, Stephen Curry, Kevin Durant. These dudes are superstars that came up in our time. So it was
Right,
like
right,
you had to know, you had to know, you had to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning and run, or and then after that go to the gym and just do straight defensive footwork stuff, and then work on your skills and
right,
then play pickup. You see what I'm saying? It ain't just like, yeah, you just go hoop or you
right,
just work out against cones or something. Like,
right.
you
Yeah,
gotta be able to. That's with anything in life too. Like you learn a skill set, then you gotta practice a skill set, and then you put
right,
the skill set in real motion, like against something. Like you gotta really put it to what you're trying to accomplish. That's
right.
anything. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Can't skip no steps, especially when it comes to, we hoopers, bro. So
Right,
like we know we went through where you could not skip a step.
right.
You
Or
know what
you,
I'm
or
saying?
you, or you get left behind for sure.
Right. Right, bro.
So growing up, you didn't play any other sports. Mess around with football a little bit and then just kind of lock in on basketball?
Messed around with football, man. I was probably about six. I was like 5 or 6 years old though. It was Pop Warner. Pop
Uh-huh.
Warner. Shout out to Pop Warner, obviously.
Right,
People don't know that's like a real person. It's not just like a name. Pop Warner was the guy that started the Little League football and the leagues, the little leagues. You know what I'm saying? I played with that, and it wasn't for me, man, because I
right,
wanted to
right,
hoop so much. Like I was like, man, I don't even want to go to practice. I want to go play in the neighborhood with the homies, or go to the
right.
YMCA, or go to the rec. You know what I'm saying? Go to the
Uh,
park. I wanted to hoop, so I did it for 1 year, and it was cool, man. It just was like, I'm gonna have to do this when I get older. So like I was one of the kids that grew up playing like neighborhood football.
right, right. For sure.
That
Yeah,
was great, bro.
that was a
It
great.
was
Yeah,
fun, but I was like, man, I ain't putting no pads on and stuff like that, bro. Like
it's
I
going too
love
far.
football. Yeah, I love. I mean, I seriously like that's my other than like after basketball is football for me. Like for real, like I love football, but I
Right,
just didn't have the patience for it because I was like a year round hooper.
right.
Man.
Yeah,
So
that's how it is. So we're growing up in Charlotte. And obviously being tapped in with sports from the west side of Charlotte. So like how was that with, realizing that you love sports and but maintaining that the mindset to not get in any trouble kind of with the area that you grew up in. Tell us a little bit about that.
Angela Morrow or Mama,
Mom, she
you know,
stayed on you.
you already know, bro.
Yeah.
A lot like your mama. You know what I'm
Right, right.
saying? I
Yeah.
love Miss Clint. I love her, man.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? Like my that was it though, bro. Like she always preached about like, you know what I'm saying, like wanting to be more than just the Boulevard, West Boulevard,
Right.
more than just West Charlotte. more than just our neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It was about like being able to, she used to let me go outside the neighborhood with some of my friends I went to school with that lived in the suburbs,
Mm-hmm.
Piper Glen, these neighborhoods on the south side of Charlotte, which was really nice. And it was different. It almost felt like you was in a different city,
Right.
and
Yeah.
different state almost. So,
Right. Right.
just
Yeah.
being able to see something outside of the element I grew up in, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that was huge for me to she always embraced, she said, look, you want to play basketball, well, you're gonna play basketball, you gotta be committed to it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she saw that. She didn't really have to push the commitment on it because every day I woke up, I was trying to hoop.
Right. You're trying to get it in.
Yeah, so I'm like,
Yeah.
man, I'm going to school. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna make sure my grades are good, so I can hoop.
Right.
I don't want to make her mad. I don't want to, mess anything up in terms of anything that would get in the way of being able to play basketball. So
Right. So you had a why. You had a why to
yeah, had a
kind of
why,
step.
bro. Yeah, and she was always, motivational and inspirational in terms of that. In terms of staying inspired to get out there and work on your. I want you to go play because I want you to play well this weekend in Greensboro and AU
Right. Right.
High Point or Winston-Salem, whatever it was. So she never shut that down, and she never made me feel like I was wasting my time.
Right.
It was
Absolutely.
always just that push, you know what I'm saying, and just that support. Honestly, more support than a push. It was
Right.
support. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. At what age did you know like I want to play college basketball, I want to be a pro? Like what do you remember around the age you were?
I remember, bro. I remember. Shout out to my Charlotte Nets, man. Um, I probably was about 13
Right.
because I really started seeing that. Like, okay, I started having like a growth spurt.
Right.
I started seeing like, okay, you can shoot better than most kids. Or like all the kids that I was playing with, you can shoot the ball better, you can score. I started seeing what like how you said, like knowing who you are,
Right.
player. I started figuring that out around that age, and then
Right.
I started watching college basketball and understanding. I had been watching. We watched basketball because we was babies,
Right.
but when you start realizing the game and where you want to go to school or where you see certain play like Tony Rutland at Wake Forest was a guy I always like looked like every time Wake Forest played, and Randolph Childress, and then Jeff McGinnis at all the Carolina guys,
Right.
Duke guys, like we in hoop state, bro. We're in North Carolina, you know what I'm saying?
Right. For
Like
sure. For sure.
we always, NC State guys, Julius Hodge. Like I was like, man, I want to be like that. I
Right.
want people to look at me like that. So like whatever I need to do to work on who I can be. That's the main thing, bro. And you know this, you a trainer.
Right.
The main goal is to help them understand what kind of player they are,
Right.
how they gonna change their game based off their strengths, and then understanding your weaknesses and just attacking your weaknesses to get better at them.
Right.
And a lot of kids don't get that now. They just say, you know, if your uncle say, "Yo, you Kyrie Irving,"
Uh-huh.
he may not be Kyrie Irving. He may be, what I'm saying, somebody else that is in the league.
That's still great. Right.
Right, bro.
Yeah.
You
It's
don't
still
have to
great.
be bruh. Like bruh's different. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah. I hate you will
Yeah.
never see me
You
trying to
gotta
train
deal
anybody like
with
character
it.
because that's a gift. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's a
that.
blessing from God, that boy like that. You know what I'm saying? So like it's not like don't but at the same token, don't think you don't need to work on that.
Right.
I'm saying I
Right.
love Bron. Don't get me wrong. I love LeBron James and
So what he
everything.
said.
I saw what he said, bro. He was like, "Why are these guys working on stuff? It confuses me. It kind of makes me mad or something. You working on stuff you'll never use in the game, Bron. You work, you worked on your 3-point shot
All right.
from high school, your rookie year until where you are now. You shoot more threes now than you ever have.
Never have. Right.
That's like saying, Bron, you can dunk. Why are you shooting the basketball ever?
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't do that." And I had
Yeah.
other guys I played with that's done like in the middle of an NBA workout, like after practice. I'm doing like a ball handling drill or something like that, and getting to the spots and pulling on. You like, bro, man, just shoot, catch, and shoot. I'm like, no, I saw y'all do this to another player that's on this team,
Right.
and he believed in it. He
Mm-hmm.
out the league.
Well, I had a guy I'm not gonna say his name, but I had a guy, and we'll talk
Say
about it.
his
But
name.
I had a guy that I trained that He was a 3-and-D guy, but he's 6'9", he has a great 1 or 2 dribble pull up.
Mm-hmm.
But he was like, he would be doing that and shoot around, and the coaches would be like, let's just work on slide downs, catch and shoots, maybe some pop outs. But the guards that they have on their team are big time guards. So it's like, it's kind of, they kind of put him in that box to kind of, I don't know, it takes away from his abilities and makes it, you'll have fans saying, oh, he can't play, or that's all he does, when sometimes in the NBA, as you know, that's what they want you to do for their team. You know what I mean? So,
Bro, that's cool, bro. Like, one thing that I learned early, and I had a conversation with CY about this when I was at Tech, and he was like, you got to hang your hat on something.
right.
I always hung my hat on being able to shoot the basketball, making threes, whatever the case may be. But he was like, you got to work on everything else the same way. You know what you're good at. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's basketball, bro. Like, one thing Kyrie Irving said was like, this is like art to me, which was dope. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, you can work on this by yourself. That's the only sport. You don't
It's the
need
best sport that
nobody
you can get better. Yeah, you don't need
You get
anybody but your ball. Yeah,
in a court or a hoop, and I can go out there and work on every single thing I want to work on by myself, and then go hoop and apply it to actually playing against people.
Right.
I mean, this is that sport. That's why I feel like it's the greatest sport ever, bro.
Yeah.
Can't let nobody tell you don't work on that because you're not ever going to do that. Yes, you are going to do it eventually.
You just might.
You might need it. You got to have an arsenal.
Right.
Like, you don't tell nobody in the military, hey, look, you're only going to work on one thing. But then you go to war and you don't have the knowledge and should have been working on everything else, and you ain't going to have it, so you can't apply it to like the real game or the real action.
Right.
Can't let nobody tell you that, man. I tell kids that all the time. Work on everything. You might just be a back to the basket big man, or a catch and shoot player, or a traditional point guard, or a scoring point guard, but you can't. You're a scoring point guard. You can't not be able to make plays for other people.
Well, yeah, I mean, you look at the scope of the league, the point guards are scoring more, but I tell players to make sure that they pay attention that, I mean, Lillard still averages about 6 or 7 assists.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously, LeBron is a point forward, but LeBron's going to average 27 and 8 assists. You know what I mean? So,
right.
I mean, you can't go without, without naming that, man. So, without working on that. But, okay, Mo, so you played it was at Charlotte Latin, right?
Yes, sir.
Charlotte Latin, and obviously you had a successful career there, and then coming out, what schools recruited you, and what did you kind of narrow it down to?
The last it was a lot of, it was like every ACC team except Duke. So like at the time, Duke was like, Coach K was recruiting like a lot of guys from up north. You know what I'm saying? Or if you was like they started recruiting more here in North Carolina later.
Right.
But it was like every ACC team was recruiting. Most of them offered. I broke it down to Tennessee, UNC Charlotte, NC State, and then Georgia Tech.
Right. Okay. And then obviously you chose Tech, and just overall, how would you say what did you enjoy about your college experience, and what did you dislike? What would you have done different? Just in general, or if there was any.
Well, I wouldn't say anything I would have done differently, bro. I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, you was there at Tech with me, so you know how that college experience is.
For sure.
And you had the moments where it's like, man, I should have went such and such, or I should have did this, or whatever. But at the end of the day, playing for Coach Hugh and his staff, I really felt like what I learned was more about life than just basketball.
Right.
So like, it was adversity, or it's like everything ain't fair at the time. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
It was like I learned and felt more about that, and I figured that out later in my college career. So it's like, all right, cool. Like, okay, now I understand that if this happens, what are you going to do about it versus blaming people or something?
Right. How do you respond?
So it built like character and like self-awareness and self-accountability. Like, all that for me, it built that, because I could have transferred to UNC Charlotte and went and averaged 20 or something like that.
Right.
but I was like, nah, I'm gonna figure it out here because I don't want to leave the ACC in general.
Right.
And I wanted to play against Carolina and Duke and NC State and Wake Forest and Miami and these teams and I wanted to leave a mark. So it was like almost like like CY. We always bring up Coach Charlton Young. You feel me? It was like that
Right.
marathon, bro.
Yeah.
And rest in peace, Nipsey. But we've been saying that marathon thing for years.
Right. Right.
Before Nip was rapping. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Nah, for
Real
sure.
talk, bro. That's
For
a fact.
sure.
You a living
Absolutely.
testimony, brother. You my
Absolutely.
brother. Yeah, and it was like, man, that's what that was. It wasn't about like, because I had to realize, and it was like a maturity thing. I was up and down. It was a roller coaster with everything. One
Right.
day you great, the next day something go right, you pissed off, and I'm like, man, you can't live like that. That's stressful,
Right.
especially with basketball. Like we scorers and shooters,
Right.
so
Gotta have a clear mind.
you might have a day in pickup where you might not miss, and then the next day you might cannot make a shot, and you shooting the same way, did the same workout, got the same routine.
Right.
So it's about the routine, it's about the mental toughness. That's what was. It basically came down to. I wouldn't have, if I could go back and do it again, I would go to Georgia Tech again. Like I
Wouldn't
wouldn't.
be a question.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a
I
question.
mean, and then like you look at the time that you went, and that still inspired me. Seeing them play in the national championship.
Right.
I think you went the year after that, so I know that energy just was still here in Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And I know, obviously, having Coach Hewitt and just the kind of team, those guys, Jared Jack, BJ Elder, Will Bynum, those are some high level guys, and I even got small experiences with them. And I can imagine what that influence was like, coming into this, coming and being around and just
Yeah.
feeling, having the vibes of like, hey, we going back. You know what I mean,
Right.
right? So
Yeah. That was definitely played a huge part. And then being around those guys, you know what I'm saying?
right,
And seeing what it took for them to get there and seeing, the camaraderie and like family kind of feeling of the organization.
right,
It was huge, bro. And that was something that I really wanted to be a part of and be like ingratiated into that culture that they had.
right.
And it was dope, man. But I wouldn't do nothing different, bro, for real.
What now? You kind of hit on them, but what's the formula for success to be a standout? So we talked about getting recruited. Um, we talked about going to college and being prepared. What obviously, and we'll hit on entrepreneurial things in a minute. But what's the formula?
I say, man, number one is consistency.
Right.
And when I say that, I mean consistency in the grind.
Uh-huh.
So, like, a lot of the lessons and a lot of stuff I talk about on my foundation with kids, with speaking engagements, whatever, I always talk about, like, I took myself somewhere else in terms of the consistency of the work.
Right.
You can't control how many minutes you play. You can't control how many shots you get. You can't control if the point guard gonna pass the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Control these things. You know what I'm saying? So it's
For
like,
sure.
what can I control? Okay, I played 4 minutes.
Right.
Ooh, they got something going on in the rotation. This is coaching. This is out of my hands. I can go work out for 2 hours after the game.
Right.
I can go work out 2 hours before the game. You can be completely out of the rotation, not playing at all. I can get 1,000, 2,000 makes in 2 weeks and not play a game.
Right.
I can control that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I can go hard in practice.
Uh,
Every move, every drill, every play, communicating, being a leader on the floor, being a leader with your teammates, staying engaged and locked in. I can control that.
right.
I can control going to the gym at midnight, work out for 2 hours, come home. Cause that's what takes you somewhere else as a pro.
Right.
And you can have the pro mentality at any age.
Right.
You see what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? It goes back
Definitely.
to that. We play basketball. We go get a basketball, go to a hoop, be out there all day,
Right.
working on stuff. Watching film is way more access. Man, we used to have to go get like Coach Harris and them to, you
All right.
know what I'm saying? Like, can I still have them in my daddy house too? Like, Carmelo Anthony, Kobe Bryant, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, all these guys that I always idolized and looked up to in terms of their game. Like, I could put that into the back then. I don't want to sound too old, but you put that into the PlayStation and watch that and rewind and then go to the gym and work on that.
Absolutely.
I can control that. You know what I'm saying? I may not play a lot, or I may not get a lot of shots. I may not have the opportunity that I want, but you can't let that come in between the work. If you really committed to the game or anything in life, if you really committed to what you're doing, then you're not gonna let something that's outside of your hands stop it, because somebody watching.
Right.
Everybody watching you, bro. If you're not gonna stand out, you can stand out by just working.
For sure.
Feel me? So it's like
being committed to the grind and the preparation, for sure.
Right. You gotta stay down and committed. If you telling me that you want to work and you want to be the best as you can possibly be, you can't let that stop you. You know what I'm saying?
Right. All right. So, all right. So 4 years at Tech, and all right, boom. We have a great shooting career at Tech. You go undrafted, and the Miami Heat pick you up for summer league, and then we have the Golden State Warriors. They gave you a shot also. So talk about those two experiences with those summer league opportunities, and how was that?
It was, I mean, honestly, bro, it's like one of the best times of my life going through that, bro.
Right.
A lot of anxiety because I could be cut or let go. It wasn't like I
right.
You know what I'm talking about, bro.
Absolutely.
So, but it was little stuff, bro. And you know what I'm talking about, like waking up in a nice hotel on the beach in Miami. You know,
yeah,
and it's
absolutely.
like, I'm not thinking like I have to try out for the summer league team. People don't know I had to try out for the Miami Heat.
Right.
And Daquan Cook, shout out to Daquan Cook, was a great player. Is a great player. He hurt his shoulder though. He separated his shoulder, and I got an opportunity to start like really playing real minutes in the summer league. And Mike Beasley, Mario Chalmers, these guys was, they was their number one picks. And I got a chance to really put Eric Spoelstra. It was his first year. Shout out to him. And it was just like, building chemistry with them dudes on and off the court.
Right.
And basically just taking advantage. Like before I went to that summer league to try out, you know how I locked myself in that sweat box gym at Tech.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The freshman.
Right. Absolutely.
And it was, we was going hard. We were going to Decatur at the church to play pickup with the pro. Right. Anytime they play pickup at Tech, I'm there. You know what I'm saying? Scott, shout out to Scott, the weight coach at the time. I'm in there.
All right, trying to get it in.
I don't know what's going to happen, but I know I'm gonna do everything to be successful.
Right.
I have to go, and so I can take advantage of the opportunity. And I played well in Miami, and then Golden State called. Went to Vegas, played well there. Then went to Utah and got MVP of that. Right. And it's 3 summer leagues. While my daughter, my mother's the mother of my daughter was pregnant.
Right.
And it was like that was an extra chip on my shoulder. You know what I'm saying? It was I play against these dudes was ranked in front of me since we was 13, 14 years old that win the first round, a top 10, top 5. And it's like, okay, now I can see you.
Right.
Without having any, like, it's not a system now.
Right. 0-0 basically.
Yeah, it's a clean slate now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's an opportunity. And it was like, man, I'm taking advantage of it, bro. Because at the end of the day, bro, I was just like, if something happened and you get cut or something like that, God forbid you get hurt, you done did everything you needed to do in this time to take advantage of the opportunity.
Right.
It's nothing stopping you now. Like I was gone.
Right.
You know, right. So like I'm on now. Like even if they do cut me.
Right.
I showed you.
Right.
That goes
made a
back.
Mark.
Right. And I tell people, I always say, like, you're not just playing for this organization.
Right.
You're auditioning for the world.
Absolutely.
Somebody's watching. You can't get frustrated. You can't get discouraged. Like, you can't let that shit linger.
Right.
You got to keep going and going because it's going to work. You don't put too much work in. What you going to stop for now? Or why would you let this little situation that's a microcosm of what's going to happen in the future or something stop you. You feel me, bro?
Absolutely. Definitely makes sense, man. It makes sense. So fast forward, man. Obviously, we know the history. You ended up sticking with Golden State and having some success, and just seeing this number, first rookie to lead the NBA in 3-point percentage with a 46.7 percentage for the season. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And then it's dope, bro, because it's like I like the kid Duncan Robinson a lot, and every time like comparing players, I always use you as an example. And you see, you got the bag. What he got? 4 year, 90 mil. I think that's too. That's timing too, because they played. They play in the finals.
Yeah.
Uh, you're down there in an organization that needs a lock-in shooter. So that's great timing to get that. He was similar story. Undrafted also, right?
I think he was undrafted. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I know he was at a D2 Division 2 schools as well, but that just goes to show talking about sharpening that blade, man. But I wanted to pull this up, man, just to kind of show your elite shoot. Give me a second. So how was this experience right here?
Get the stream, y'all, boy. This thing is not. Oh yeah.
Look at the jersey, Chuck.
Man.
Yeah, man. Nah, I was
You know what I
nervous.
mean?
I was nervous, bro.
You
I ain't
were?
gonna lie, man. Nah, the homies still be talking junk to me, man, because I didn't make it past the first round. I didn't make it past the first round in the 3-point contest.
Right. But still, just the experience and listen to what they're saying about you too. It's dope. Like these are some of our favorite players ever. Like,
Yeah.
and they're talking about how the greatness of you shooting and Gopher fans Reggie
Yeah,
Miller.
man. Hell yeah. And like hearing like Reggie Miller to say like his form is beautiful. He can really
Right.
shoot it. You know what I'm saying? But I was nervous, bro. And I didn't even finish the rack because I was really trying to like make every
Get it
single
off.
shot when I should have just been shooting.
Right.
So that's how you win a 3-point contest.
Yeah, you were smooth. Like you weren't necessarily rushing. You were just kind of work. It looked like you were just more so working on your shot, like he was in
I
the
was
lab.
shooting like I was in a workout.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying?
Yeah. But this is
of course,
incredible, man.
yeah. Which is messed up because everybody shot well in the first round.
And that
And
first,
then it was like everybody in the second round was like I think I had 14. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had like 14. But then like everybody else had like 12 and 13 in the second round.
Right.
They would get like 18, 19 in the first round.
Uh-huh.
And it was over. It was over for me, man. It was cool though, man. It was a great experience, bro. And then shout out to Drazen Petrovic and his family. And I got to meet his mama when I was playing for Jersey.
Uh-huh.
She was damn near in tears when she saw that I wore that jersey. And I paid
Right.
homage because I didn't know anything about him until I played. Because you always see the jerseys up there. It's like Dr. J and all them. And I was like, who was Drazen Petrovic? They was like, look at his film. So I went home and I like Googled Cash, and he was like popular, and he was a legend. Where he from? And his personality was dope. So I was like, can I wear his jersey for the 3? And then we had to get approved by the league, and they said I could do it. So that's definitely one of the dopest NBA moments. Probably like top 2 or 3 NBA moments I had.
Yeah, man. I mean, like being in there with the best shooters in the league. Who else was in that contest? Who else was in there?
I think Cre8tive was in there. Steph, I believe. Clay. Maybe Cal Korver. I can't remember everybody.
Right. But there was some elite guys though.
Man,
there was some elite guys.
Best, bro. Like
it was elite company.
It was dope, man. It was fun, man. Like the camaraderie of All-Star Weekend in general. But yeah, man, that pissed me off because I'm like, I could go in there and win that thing right now if I wanted to.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's cool.
Absolutely. So, obviously with my podcast, man, it's about, talking about creative athletes, man. I mean, I'm interviewing athletes, we're talking about the sports side, but, more importantly to you, and even now with what's going on, with college players being able to be put themselves in a position to get paid. How important is it for an athlete to be creative? And when I say creative, I mean like being conscious of how they conduct themselves on social media, coming up with concepts for themselves, with representing themselves as an athlete, but also as a brand? How important is that now?
Nah, man, it's beautiful to see what's happening, bro, with
Right.
these younger guys. When you look at, and I'm gonna shout out some guys that while I was playing kind of changed the narrative while they were playing. LeBron James,
All right.
Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul, Dwayne Wade, you know, they kind of shared knowledge with what they was doing. A lot of
Right.
the stuff they was doing was with them themselves and their brands and the people that support them and their companies. But they started sharing some knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Look at, the generation before them,
Right.
from a lot of knowledge getting shared. So you
Yeah.
won't see these guys making money or starting companies. But I'm like, you ask how you doing this, and it's like, what I'm saying, I just saved and I did this. I'm like, nah, man, tell me somebody,
What's
let
the
me call.
formula? Right. Right.
Let me call somebody or something. Like, can I call you and talk about it? You may
Right.
not hear from the homies. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, or from those guys. And, I think that those guys, those four guys I said, bro, Braun, CP, Melo, D Wade, they kind of started really showing you how you can do it, or
Right.
sharing at least sources and the network and the networking opportunities for you to come and learn from the people they learned that from. You
Right.
ain't born, all those guys, they come from humble beginnings.
Uh-huh.
So you don't just roll out the bed and know that just because
Right. Right.
you know what I'm saying? So like with me, I started going to those networking events and really taking advantage, not just going there because it's mandatory and we have to go.
Right.
Started having more conversations with executives and GMs. Shout out to Sam Preston, and all these people that and Billy King, like all these people that will share the knowledge, but you gotta know to go talk to them about it. Like you can't
Right.
just think they're gonna give you a handbook. I started taking advantage of those NBPA crash course, you know, um, off the court meetings in Vegas,
Right.
for 3 days and really
And
take
what?
notes.
But in what year? What years did you start doing it?
I
Like,
started off when I was in Golden State
uh,
at the beginning. I was going to a lot of NBPA, like we had to do some in the community in Oakland
right.
or, in New York in the off season when we would have meetings. I
Mm,
would really chop it up with the people that were running, with the people that was running the NBPA at the time about anything I could learn that would help me off the court. Even though I didn't know what I was doing, I was just like, I just want to be around and see stuff.
right. Right.
Start knowing what questions to ask and knowing what to research. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So like, it started with me as a baby in the league. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like my rookie year, my second year, I started building these, Cre8tive and all these people that, work for the league and, everybody that, they embrace that. They want players to do
The
that.
one place tapped in. Yeah.
Right. You know what I'm saying? But you got to be engaged in it. And it's hard sometimes, I understand, because you're making a lot of money, you playing. So you just focus on basketball. You got family, you got wives, girlfriends, kids, and the homies, and you got to worry about your community back home if something happens. So it's a
Right.
lot you got to deal with while basketball being number one
Right.
in terms of your priority list. So, but I was like, man, I got to make time for this because I need to know
Absolutely.
about a 401k plan. I got to know about annuities. I got to know about trust funds and, you know, college funds for your kids. It was a lot of knowledge that I learned that kind of like pushed me forward in terms of a lot of the stuff I'm doing now, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Right. How did you with own sense of style? How do we come up with this?
Yeah, bro. That
How do
was
we come up with this? Is because that's just a reflection of creativity, man. I think as athletes, we get credited a lot for the way we perform, but more than just the way we perform. That's what I'm big on. Like I think all athletes should try to figure out whether it's doing it collectively or even as an individual. Like you mentioned, Chris Paul, LeBron, CP3 has his brand, Melo has his brand,
right.
and obviously we've seen what LeBron has done. But I think every athlete, like I said, should be conscious of like how you've done with own sense of style. That's a way for you to express your creativity,
Right.
and just kind of tap in. So how did you come up with the name, and then how did you decide that you wanted to create gear?
For well, like for one, like when I was a kid, I used to like draw sneakers.
Ah,
You
okay.
you know, we came from the same type of element, so we
Right,
couldn't go
right.
with the J's that
Yeah,
everybody had, you know what I'm saying?
right,
I would draw shoes and make it like this is the Anthony Morrow Air Anthony, like something like that. Because I
right,
was trying to like, you know, basically recreate what we saw Mike do.
right.
I knew like growing up, I'm like, I'm gonna do something with fashion. Like I remember like in the 7th grade, we had to do like a project on like something we invent. So I like created a shoe that could make you fly or something like that.
Right.
Like I did something, I
I
got
like
like an
that.
A on it
Yeah.
though. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that kind of like
Creativity. Yeah.
yeah. So I was like, man, it was dope. You know what I'm saying? And you know, man, with own sense of style, bro. Like I knew that I started kind of planting seeds with people. Like I was blessed to play with Russell Westbrook,
Right.
and I remember being in the locker room one day on the off day. We came in and worked out, and you know, just doing some you know, the corrective stuff on off days people do. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I was like, bro, I opened up a magazine and saw you sitting next to Anna Wintour, bro. Who's legendary designer. You know what I'm saying? He was like, yeah, yeah, she cool. And I'm like, man, what made you want? Because you know, obviously, Russ will take some risks. Obviously, what we've seen in
Yeah.
terms of like fashion,
Right.
which is cool. That's my brother, man. I wasn't surprised at whatever everybody going
You
to do.
know.
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, that don't
Right.
mean you got to do it. Like, bro,
Right.
that's what bro on. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
that kind of creative guy. Like, but I was like, how do you come up with it? Like, who? And I ain't gonna lie, I love Russ like
Mm.
a brother for real. He already know what time it is, man. But you know, he sat there and gave me some knowledge on how he started his brand and what pushed him and what influenced him.
Right.
And you know, a lot of that knowledge he gave me, I took to like, man, I want to make,
Tap in. Yeah.
yeah, man. You know, and I had to do it my way though, obviously, because it's an individual thing. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
So I was sitting around in the off season, and I was like, man, I want to like start something. And shout out to, you know, I talked to Wallace Cre8tive, my former agent, and he has Two Commas Clothing, and we was sitting at a restaurant, quote unquote.
Right. Yeah.
And
I already
I
know.
was like, bro, you know what I'm talking about. And I was like,
Yeah.
man, I want to start a brand, bro. Like I know you're doing. He was like, you know what I'm saying? Like this what it is. You know, he gave me some knowledge on it as well. And I was watching something on TV, so I was like, man, I got my own sense of style, man. I'm trying to think of a name. I already know what I want to make. I already
Right.
know what people like. I know what the girls like, what the
Right.
homies like, and what's in demand and what's coming. I'm like, got these ideas, bro. Just keep coming to me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm writing stuff down, I'm drawing, sketching stuff, trying to like, you know, I'm talking to different people.
Uh,
And I was like, man, I got my own sense of style, man. Because I thought about an outfit I saw on a mannequin, and I saw like 2 or 3 people in the club wearing the same outfit.
right. Right.
Whole outfit with the
The
shoes,
whole fit.
hat,
Right.
like, and I was
Right.
like, man, I hate that, man. I got my own sense of style. I was like, that sounds kind of cool.
Right.
Wrote it down, started playing with different like names and like abbreviations, and I was like, I'm gonna go with own sense of style, you know. But then
Right.
on the other side of it, it ain't just making clothes, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like we still empowering ownership. So it's own it, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Right.
you own what you can have, and you move up from there. Everybody
Absolutely.
start off being Virgil Abloh with off
Right.
or you know what I'm saying, like
Right.
Alexander McQueen. You don't just start off
The high end.
right, bro. You
Right.
start off with what you think is dope. You research and see what's cool and see what people like, what's in demand. It's a lot of trial and error with it, which is cool. And you investing in yourself. When you investing in yourself and the mission behind it is ownership,
Right.
can't go wrong with it, man. So about to make the winter stuff now, man. And
Yeah. I
that's
saw. I
been the
saw.
journey.
Yeah. So where can they get this able? Tell them the website.
You go on Instagram, follow Own Sense of Style at Own Sense of Style, one word. And you go to
Uh-huh.
ownsenseofstyle.com, one word. Um, it's been cool, man. You know, I appreciate the support, everybody. You know, really locking in, man. It's been a blessing, man. I want to continue to keep it going as long as I can and see how far I can take it.
Right. Okay. And I spelled it right at Owens. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, man. Well, so now along with your brand, we don't have to get into detail with everything, but along with your brand, I know you have your charity side of things that you do in your community in Charlotte. Tell us a little bit about that.
Hey, this plane ain't too loud, is it?
It's all good. Yeah.
You can hear me?
Yeah, I
on?
can hear. I can hear. Yeah.
Nah, man. AMO Charities, so it's AnthonyMorrowCharities.org.
Right.
And I had my foundation and my initiative, 501c3, all that with it since 2010, 2009.
Mm.
So it's been over 10 years we've been doing it.
Right.
And basically, that was just like I'm from West Boulevard, Charlotte, North Carolina, bro. Just like any other underserved community, poverty, crime, prostitution, robbery, police brutality, all that, man. Like, so where I'm from, it's like a dry, it's a dry area, so it ain't like gas stations on down the corridor where I'm from. It ain't no grocery stores, you know what I'm saying? You get corner stores and check cashing places and churches and liquor stores, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm the only person that ever made it like me from where I'm from directly. So I started the initiative there with just like book bag drives.
Right.
So I was partnering with like Target and at the time like Kmart and places like that to put up money and then they'll match it to get school supplies for kids. Then we get hamburgers and hot dogs. So we started off doing that
Mm.
first couple years, and then shout out to my manager Vina Vaughn. We started like adding more like educational and knowledge in terms of programs. So we
Right.
started mental health program. We got a financial literacy program. We still do the book bag drives, of course. We still do the basketball tournaments and stuff like that. But we started adding vendors, black businesses to be a part of it.
Tap in. There we
Yeah.
go. I like it.
The mayor, shout out to Mama Lyles, Vi Lyles here, our black woman mayor here in
Mm.
Charlotte that supports everything that I've done here. Thank God for her.
Right.
And we just want to make it about a lot of stuff, man. My whole initiative is like, what did I need to know when I was these kids' age that I didn't get the opportunity to learn? Because
Right.
it wasn't gonna tell you that in no school book necessarily.
Right.
Credit score, annuities, like
Right.
investments, what's worth investing in, trading.
Right.
Now we about to get into the tech. I got a
Right.
couple people who's going to talk about tech just to be able to let them know you can start a business as a baby now, basically.
Yeah. Literally, you got a phone. You got a chance. Right.
Girl, you got the information highway in your hand. I got
Right.
tablets, phones,
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
iPads,
I got
computers.
everything available.
Everything's right there. You got it all the information right there. It's about how you use it. So it's about kind of warping and changing. One of my biggest things is the mental health program because shout out to MLK Middle School in Hidden Valley in Charlotte. And, man, we really changed. We started at the first year a couple years ago and probably started with like 12 kids, first period.
Mm. Right.
Before the first period of class, we did like a block, like 30 minutes. By the end of that 6-week program, every Wednesday at MLK Middle School, we had like 30 kids in there, bro. So they was talking about it. It ain't
Right.
you need to do this, you need to do that, you got to be better, you got to do this. Like it wasn't
Right.
no berating, it was like a TED talk. So it ain't
Uh-huh.
clinical. Shout out to Sharika Fair on my staff, licensed therapist, and
Right.
we came up. Me, her, and Vina came, and my man Greg Jackson, Hill Shaw, shout out to my brother. We came up with a bunch of ideas and activities for them.
Right.
It might be bingo. It might be
Yeah.
anything, the mental health bingo
Right.
activity, you know what I'm saying, to get them to open up. And then once we got them to open up, they started talking to each other.
Right.
A lot of them realized, my bad, bro. Hold on, I'm coming back. My bad, but yeah. A lot of them realized a lot of them was going through the same stuff, but they don't communicate about it.
Right.
You got a problem at the house with a family member or something going on in the neighborhood. You don't know that the dude that you go to school with or the girl that you go to school with is going through that in her
Same.
neighborhood.
Right. Right.
So now you start talking. Now you build a friendship based off. I started seeing it, bro. Physically seeing kids that didn't know each other that was going through the same thing. They might take it out different ways. Some of them might shut down. One
Right.
time a girl came in there, she put her head down for like the entire time of the program, like
Right.
that day.
Yeah.
We talked to her afterwards. She started opening up. The next week, she done made a couple more friends that understood what she was going through. Now
Right.
she laughing, smiling, and only thing messed it up was COVID because they shut the schools down. But we still got the whole blueprint for it, bro.
But y'all creating a positive environment for sure.
100%, bro. Thanksgiving events, of course, elementary schools,
Right.
high schools, give backs for Christmas, like all that, bro. It's like a machine now, but I be telling people because people like, yo, how you do it? Like I tried and man, people ain't really rocking. I'm like, bro, you got to do that from here, bro. It can't be just I want to do it, and it can't be you just pull up to your hood and say you did something, and then they don't see you for another 6 years or something.
Right.
You got to be consistent with everything. That's what goes back to what we're talking about.
Right.
Consistent with the work.
Right.
You know
Absolutely. In order to be effective, right?
Right. It's an investment, dog. You know what I'm talking about, bro. You know what I'm saying? Core deal,
Absolutely.
bro.
You already know.
Georgia boy.
You already know, man.
Albany. I met somebody from Albany recently too, bro. It was random as hell.
Yeah, where?
I think I was in Charlotte. I was in Charlotte at like a restaurant. We all was just kicking it, and it was a guy. I forgot his name. I don't even know him, but he was like, "Yeah, I'm from South Georgia." I was like, "Where?" Bro, from South Georgia. He knew who you was too.
Oh yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, now I'm from." I think he said it was from Albany.
Albany. Yeah, Albany. Yeah, that's right. That's like 20 minutes from the crib. Played a lot of high school basketball.
Yes, sir.
Over there, man. Yeah, so that's all of that. Like in a bigger city, all of that stuff would be like cross town. Like Albany is probably like 20, 25 minutes. On a back road. So. But yeah, man. So after a successful NBA career, man, then you start to kind of transition away. You realize you're not going to play in the league anymore. How does that work for a player? Like, how do you go to the next thing? And I think that's important for all of us athletes to think about. And that's why I'm big on pushing creativity with how you transition or how you live in your creativity while you're playing. So, with transitioning, was it tough? Was it easy?
Yeah. No, I had his moments, bro.
Right.
But for the most part, I had planted them seeds while I was playing.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't even about like necessarily like jumping right out. It's no way we can jump right out of playing basketball to when the ball start bouncing like that.
Right.
You're just comfortable with being at home and starting a whole basically new career career. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it had its moments. Like the weirdest time was that first year I was out of the league, and I hadn't like basically considered myself retired then because I was still waiting on that phone to ring again because you can't come out every day.
Absolutely.
And
by the way, I still haven't announced my retirement. I never do. I had somebody hit me up.
I'm retired, but I
can't do it. It's hard for me too. Like I had somebody hit me the other day, like, "Lou, you want to play?" I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man. So like, so like the first when I really felt it, and it was the weirdest time was I was sitting down here at the crib, and it was opening night, and I think the Thunder might have been playing, and a couple other teams I played for. I was with the homies. We was talking, and this is dope too, kind of, bro. I ain't gonna lie. So we was watching the game down here in the basement. He was watching different games or whatever, and I felt weird, but I ain't say nothing to the homies. Like I was, like, damn, like I'm used to being there. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. I'm still working out every day, like, you know what I'm saying. So I wasn't ready for it to not be happening, and that was a weird feeling, And I kind of told, JC, shout out to Cuz, he was over here. I was like, bro, it's kind of weird, bro. Like, and we was all talking. I was like, man, it's kind of weird, bro. I'm used to being active right now on the court.
Right.
And we started talking, kind of started joking. You with your homies, they're gonna make sure that you, like, yeah, bro, but you did it, and then they like, man, you did what you're supposed to do, bro. Like, couldn't do that forever. You know what I'm saying? You did what you're supposed to do. Like, we all know what time it is. And then, I was like, yeah, then we started watching the game. I was chilling. And then they started telling all these stories about games that I had in the league over the years and stuff I forgot about. And I was just listening to them, and it really hit me like, nah, bro, you did what you're supposed to do, bro. Like, look at what they talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Undrafted, 10 years in that thing.
Absolutely.
You feel me? So it really like hit me when they started telling stories within each other about, man, my cousin went to Memphis and did this, or he was in Chicago and did this, and he went to Indiana, and remember the game and all this stuff. I don't even remember this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But, we be stuck in that grind and
you be moving on to the next one.
Right,
on
bro.
to the next one.
Yeah, bro. And it hits you like, man, it's finally like a chance to really sit down and reflect in a positive way. You feel me? And I thought that was like an important moment for me to like, in terms of business. Like I knew what I was gonna do with that, and that's different. That's a different thing too, because you're not making $5 million, $6 million a year.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
it's a big
kind of like working. It's a grind to get to where you want to get.
Right.
That initiative, you know what I'm saying, which is cool because that's life. It's not nothing crazy. It's just staying down with that, like you stayed down with the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yeah, man, the transition was cool. It was more tough from the basketball side than it was from anything else.
Right, because everything else, I know you get to spend more time with the kids. Like that, those are bonuses. But that's something that we've been doing since we were, small. It's been a part of our passion. So, I know it's hard for. Yeah.
Bittersweet. But now it's sweet because you know what's going on. And then like got the AAU team, Anthony Morrow, so I can stay around the game.
Absolutely.
Front office position with the Thunder.
Right.
Something we always talked about since we was in college. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, got my foot in the door with that. But all of it's a marathon. It's a grind and it's a process with everything, man. But I'm just glad to be able to have the opportunity to go into it.
Right. Definitely.
It don't ever stop, bro. Nothing.
Definitely.
Keep going.
Definitely. What would you tell a young athlete that's gonna see this? If they want to make it to the NBA, they want to make it D1. What's two things that they should focus on? I know that's kind of a narrow list, but like, let's say three. What are three things they should focus on?
All right, I'll say number one, like we said earlier, consistency in the work.
Right.
I don't care what sport you want to play. I don't care what you want to major in. I don't care what you want to do in terms of your career. It doesn't matter what it is. You have to be consistent in the work and the commitment. That's number one. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, education is always imperative. You got to make sure that your grades are on point, but also understanding that with the rule number one I said is tapping in with your passion.
Right.
And staying committed with it.
Right.
Because now, and then number three, obviously, is just focus. Because it's a lot of distractions out here, especially for the young generation. Like, it's more distractions, I feel like, than it was when we was coming up.
Definitely. I mean, we were on the front end of that Facebook thing in 2005. So that,
YouTube and all that.
That was just a tip of the iceberg. I mean, they have so much access and so many, different options for social media, from TikTok, the younger generation don't really mess with Facebook like that. I've had some of my players tell me that's the old people website.
Yeah.
The old people social media, but obviously TikTok, IG, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, but yeah, the distractions are tough. That's tough for them.
Not right now. I'm on the phone.
The boys about to get it in.
Close the door. Now the kids, man. It's real talk, bro. Like, it's definitely it's a different generation, man. So like, number one, man, just staying consistent with the work, staying focused, man. And just making sure that you don't get distracted.
Right.
You can't get distracted with anything. You got to make sure that whatever your passion is, and there's more access, what you're using Instagram and Twitter and TikTok for and all that stuff, what you're using that for, you got to make sure you're using it to work for you. That's
what brand, right? For the brand.
It's supposed to be for that. It ain't supposed to be for just dancing and watching videos and making funny videos and trying to go viral and all that stuff, man. Like, you got to make sure you stay down with, what your passion is, because now you got every vehicle to show off your brand or your brand
or tarnish it. You can hurt it.
You can hurt it and it's more people hurting it than helping it. But the
Right.
people that's helping their brands using and taking advantage of this generation in terms of tech and digitally, they going crazy. You can
Yeah.
be, and then look at the NCAA. This is a perfect example. The NCAA is basically trying to conform because
Right.
now people figuring out you can't control my likeness.
Right.
I'm
Right.
13 years old. Like you look at Mikey Williams.
Yeah.
He's
He had an
basically
NBA
like,
2K commercial.
right. You can't tell
That's
me. You
crazy.
can't tell me that I can't make $3 million by just
Right.
being me.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that because I got to play in college. I can't take this money. Nah,
Right.
bro. That ain't the American way.
That
You
doesn't
told
make
me the
sense.
American way is find it. Go get it.
Right.
So you can't change that on us because we're popular. Like kids are more accessible and visible now.
Right.
So they have to take advantage of that. So I would tell the young guys, take advantage of the young guys and the young ladies, take advantage of your brands now. Start thinking about what you want to be and what you want to do while you still getting your education and taking care of your business. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Tell them that for sure.
Makes sense. And last question, man. So what's your Mount Rushmore of NBA players? Now Mount Rushmore is four. We'll go ahead and do top five. I know,
So we're doing 4 or 5.
let's go five. We'll go five because four is just, I feel like
Nah, I'll
that
do
makes
4. I
you
can
do
do 4.
four.
I can do
Okay,
4.
okay.
Of all time or like right now?
Let's do both. Let's go of all time and then just kind of a four in like the new era, like where because if LeBron is on your Rushmore, that's fine. But you know what I mean when I say the new era. It's like this jump shooting, high
Yeah.
scoring. You know what I mean?
No, I'll give you right now, and I'll give you. Oh, I gotta get my charger, bro. 'Cause this
Okay.
might take not take a while, but this might. You know what I'm saying? I get it to you. Hold on. My bad, bro.
No, you good.
Stealing my. You mean your kids be stealing your chargers and shit?
Absolutely. You gotta
Oh,
have
goodness, boy.
multiple charges.
I'm finna get on them. Come down here, be playing, and then next thing you know, chargers getting missing, all kind of stuff going on.
You ducked off in the corners with the iPad.
I'm about to start hiding on my chargers, these boys, man. Nah, but all right, I'll say for all time, I'm going with this. I'm going with Mike, and I can't get emotional on this. Try not to get emotional on it. Cause you know how we get. You know what I'm saying? I go with Mike. Guys, of course, North Carolina, and it's Mike.
For
Mike
sure.
Braun, Shaq.
Mike Brown, Shaq.
Mike Braun, Shaq. Mike Braun, Shaq. And I want to put Kobe in that, but I got to go Mike Braun, Shaq, and Tim Duncan, bro.
Tim Duncan. That's fair enough. That's
And I
fair.
want to put, if it was 5, I mean, if it's the 5th one would be Kobe.
Right. If it was a five, okay.
And then this generation, it's kind of crazy because I got to put Braun in that. Braun
You
got
got
to
to
be,
put Brown in that too.
yeah, Braun, Steph, KD. Braun, Steph, KD. And I got
Brown, Steph, KD.
hold on, I got you. Hold on, I'm gonna get it because I gotta think. I gotta. Braun, Steph, KD, and probably Giannis.
Giannis.
Yeah, Braun, Steph, KD, and Giannis.
I can deal with that.
Because you got, I
Giannis.
try to think like who, and I had a conversation last night with the homies about this. I'm like, we got to think about who changed basketball.
Right. Who has an impact, right? Yeah.
Who changed the game of basketball? Michael Jordan changed the game. Braun changed the game. Steph changed basketball.
Right. Right.
KD changed basketball at his position.
For
Like
sure.
Giannis changed basketball at the forward position to like he ain't Karl Malone or back to the basket. It's
It's
get
every
off
like
the
it's
rim, 4
weird. Yeah.
dribbles. I'm dunking on everybody.
Right.
He's one of the most dominant players ever. I got to put Giannis in there in this generation.
And where do you
I
see?
want. Go
Now, go. What were you gonna say?
No, I was just talking about like I want to put Dame in there because a lot of what Steph do.
So
If it
maybe
was
he's
a
that
fifth
fifth
one,
guy.
I would put Dame there.
Yeah, he's honorable mention. He'll be honorable
Yeah,
mention.
because
What?
Dame does what Steph does to me. Like you know what I'm saying.
It's still early. It's still early. But how far out is Luca? I mean, it's still early. I know he
Nah,
hasn't
it's
really
coming.
won. it's coming, but man,
I say because people like romanticize, that new like Ja Morant, these guys, Trey Young,
yeah,
them dudes done arrived. But
yeah,
Luka being like a real 6'8" point guard,
yeah,
he is in a couple years, 2-3 years, if he can get to a finals, he ain't got to win one. To me, if
right,
he can get to a finals,
yeah. He in that
he's right
category.
there. He's
Yeah,
changed basketball. A real 6'8" point guard that can do everything.
shoot,
Step play,
pace is incredible. You
pace is
know,
easy. You know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Feel for the game is unbelievable. Like he came in the league with that, and it was like,
yeah.
it wasn't even no question. So
Now, earlier in the conversation, I think that's a representation of what we talked about. Though, look at there's a picture of him bending down in the preseason beside Russell Westbrook
right,
at what 15 years old, 16. So think
yep,
about how it feels now at 21, 22, where it's like, man, I've been doing this since a teenager. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah,
so I think that helps him. That whole overseas approach, like where they play with the shot clock earlier. They learn systems and team play earlier. You know what I mean? So
and
right,
skill's different, man, and like I think the league been waiting for this. Somebody like Luka to come in from overseas and do what
right,
he's doing. They
right.
love that.
Yeah, definitely because it's that market. It puts them in different countries. Like
Like, nah, what we've been doing the last 20, 25, 30 years in the NBA is working now. You see it. You see
right,
Porzingis and all them. You saw Dirk, of course, Hall of Fame. Now you see Luka. It's like, whoa, like this is who else? You know what I'm saying?
right,
Like, what's going on? He come in the league just like that. Like
right.
gave him the keys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah, bro.
Definitely, bro, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time to talk with us today, man. And yeah, like I said, I want to use this platform to inspire athletes, man. To make them think about their creativity, think about their branding, think about their social media,
Right.
and in reflection of that, while you're in the midst of being an athlete, tapping into, like you said, committing to the grind, um, being two-way, being dominant, on the court and off, or on the field, off the field, whatever sports you do. How do you shine in that light? With everybody just saying you're a good athlete. Coming with that, hey man, buy these socks, buy this shirt if you like me so much as an athlete, and because that's the same thing that they're gonna do if they are buying your shirt from Nike. You know what I mean? Like they're buying your likeness under another brand. And I'm all for partnerships, but on your rise, you could create your own brand. Like some of these kids are going to college with 100,000 followers, 10,000 followers. That's
Right.
an audience. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and they're
Right.
taking that audience to a university. Some are going to play pro. So I don't know. I think this is good, man. And I appreciate you, talking with me today, bro, for sure. And we're gonna do it again. I'm gonna definitely have you back on because we'll just come get on here and talk strictly shooting because I think that's what all players have to have in their game now.
Right.
Being able to shoot. I mean, 1 through 5. If you look you from Jokic to AD, down to Lillard, Curry, all of those guys, everybody's shooting the ball now. Obviously, you see that you see what they're trying to push Ben Simmons out the league because he can't shoot. It seems like so that's another combo, though, right?
Be able to shoot, brother. I ain't
Yeah,
gonna telling you, man. But you, like we said earlier, you got to be able to work on everything, man. For real.
right,
That
definitely,
player stuff ain't like that no more. You know what I'm saying?
right,
It's not as effective because you got 7-3 guys out stepping out shooting step back threes and side
right,
threes. So we could definitely tap into that. But what I was gonna say about what you were saying about the kids with their own brands, bro, like that goes back to character too. You got
right,
followers, bro. They gotta really believe that you are who you are, who you say
right. Absolutely,
brand works. You know what I'm saying?
yes.
Another quote, bro, which is crazy. Royce the 5'9", dope rapper I really like. He
Uh-huh.
said when on his album, he was like, in terms of brand, I took it like this: like, if you own your brand, but it ain't worth nothing, then you just basically wasting your time, bro.
Right,
And like, you got to make sure that your brand is worth people following and investing in.
right,
You got it
absolutely,
on your own first before
right,
you believe in it. If you don't,
absolutely,
there ain't nobody gonna believe. You know what I'm talking about?
definitely,
So
definitely.
be that with the young guys and the young ladies, man, for real, and with the people, bro. It's real talk, bro.
Absolutely, man. Definitely. Well, we're gonna be in touch, man. We appreciate y'all tapping in.
You already know, brother.
All right, my boy.
All right, dog. Love you, dog.
Love you too, bro.
All right.